Welcome to the first episode of the Biz Club podcast. My name is Oliver and I will be your host. I wanted to start this podcast this year, beginning of 2023, especially for current and former restaurant owners, restaurant managers, and people that have always thought about starting a restaurant. People in the food industry in general, for us to carve out some space on the internet where we can all meet as like-minded entrepreneurs. I'm here to inspire, motivate, and help you execute your business plans. Because let's face it, not everyone gets us. When we first even thought about starting a restaurant, or any business for that matter, I guarantee that almost everyone listening to this, when they told their family and friends about this great idea that we had, all you got was you're crazy, you'll never open a restaurant, you don't know the first thing about it, followed with the the hee and the shaking their heads. So after that, gut punch that we all take, many of us fold and give up on the idea. But there's a handful of us that took it as a challenge.
It was at this moment that he knew.
A little background about me. I am a former restaurant owner. So when I meet restaurant owners and business owners, which I assume a large number of you listening to this are, I know how you feel. Because I wasn't just a restaurant owner. I was in the restaurant, in the trenches. So I would 12-hour days were short days for me, as many of you are doing as well. I'd spend up to 14 hours, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week in my restaurant. I can get on the grill, prep the food, do some cashier work, janitorial duties if a staff or two called in sick that day, or if you were, extremely busy. So I did that for about 4 years straight. 5 years if you consider the planning, the training that we went to, because we did buy into a franchise restaurant, and also the build out of the restaurant took about a year or so. All of this, and I had no prior experience in the restaurant industry. Never worked in a restaurant, even the fast food restaurants. So that's probably why a lot of people that were close to me were discouraging me about restaurant ownership and operating a restaurant, let alone starting a business. No experience. The people around me are probably thinking, this guy thinks he can just get in there and open a restaurant. He's going to get killed. And, before that, I was, and I still am, in the tech industry. So I had a pretty good, safe job behind a keyboard. So people around me were crazy, thought I was crazy for leaving a pretty good paying job. And in my mind, they were just a bunch of haters. I was so naive back then. But I had a goal, and no one was going to stop me. And I did make it happen, open the restaurant along with my business partner. He didn't have much experience in the restaurant business as well. So we had the mentality of it's just us against the world. And we were up for it because we didn't care. We had a vision, and we were going to make it happen. And we did make it happen. So for anyone listening right now, you have no experience, you're kind of scared to open up a restaurant. I want to tell you that it is possible, but it's a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. You'll go through self-doubting many times, but if you push through, you can make it happen. So joining me, if you want to join me on this podcasting journey, I want to provide you with a lot of information about the industry, and for aspiring restaurateurs, Maybe you'll find the information useful and see if it's a good fit for you. And if you're a current restaurant owner, this will be a place of safety for you. I wish I had some type of forum or platform when I had my restaurant, where I can be with and communicate with other restaurant owners. Basically to share information, get information. At that time, I couldn't do that with restaurant owners in my area, because hey, they were competition, and as restaurant owners, there's a little bit of arrogance about us, right? Not all, a bunch of us just had a lot of confidence, and back then, social media was not a thing yet. I think it was on the verge of being something, but hopefully this forum will be provide some support for all of you. And we'll also get into the technology that's accelerating in the restaurant industry. And we'll see, how it can help your restaurant. We'll also touch on, financial side of running a restaurant. I'll try to provide, news in the industry so you can be up to date. We'll touch a little bit about real estate. The only reason is majority of restaurant owners that I know and have known have added real estate into their portfolio to diversify their holdings. If you're wanting to open a restaurant of your own, but you're short on funds financially, we'll go over some other things you can do in the meantime. Some side hustles you can do on top of your regular 9 to 5. So that you can build up some cash for you to open up your restaurant. And also, if you're based outside of the United States, where I'm based out of, this is a place for you as well. Because as restaurant owners, we face the same challenges, no matter where we are in the world. If we're different languages, different cultures, restaurant owners. If I meet you on the streets of another country, I kind of know what you're going through. And also, I'd like to get your input if you are in another country to see, what differences there are about restaurant ownership in your country. And I'm pretty sure you could provide a lot of useful tips and information to restaurant owners here in the United States as well. And as far as challenges, I'll share with you an incident at my restaurant. We were just pretty much brand new. We were a few months into it. Sales were great. It was just super busy. Me and my partner were feeling good. My employees were doing excellent job. We were getting calls and compliments from the franchise headquarters, regarding our sales numbers and all these ideas that we were bringing to the franchise. And and one day, I went into the restaurant as normal, and that old saying that everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So it was basically like a cluster. We opened at 11 a.m., but I would get in there before 8. Same time around when my prep crew came in, my cooks would come in about 9:30, 10 a.m. They all had staggering shifts. And, all of a sudden, one of my cashiers noticed that the POS, the point of sale system, wasn't working. And I couldn't get it to work. So I called, the vendor. It's around 10 a.m. When I got on the phone with them. And while I was on the phone with the POS vendor, one of my cooks, in a frantic tone, and he was, pretty talking fast. So I had to let him tell him, calm down, what's going on. And told me that the exhaust fan over the grill wasn't turning on. And, it was apparent to me because smoke started filling up the restaurant slowly. So we had to turn out the exhaust fan. So, it was, my employees were kind of panicking in a way. So I was trying to, calm my staff down, because back then, I don't really get panicked too much. I'm the type to address the situation and not much of the emotions. So I told my staff, hey, take it easy, settle down, in my mind, I'll finish this call with the POS vendor, because at that moment he said, I could probably fix it in about 10 minutes or so. So it was about 10:15. In my mind, no big deal. While he's fixing it, I was trying to find a repair person for the exhaust. I was still fairly calm at this time. And then one of my other staff informed me that the grease trap was full. So I had a scheduled appointment with a company to drain our grease trap the following week, but we were just so busy that it filled up faster than we anticipated. So no POS. Vendor gave up. He said he'll need to come on site the next day. The repair person for the exhaust I found said he couldn't make it until the next day as well. I called the company to drain the grease trap. They said they couldn't make it until the next day as well. And the Manny Pacquiao knockout punch for me was one of my staff reminded me of 5 catering orders that we had that day. So at that point, I don't know, I kind of almost blacked out because of all the stuff going on. I went back into the restaurant, into a corner, and literally like balled up in a fetal position, and I just remember all I could hear in my mind was those people telling me, you're gonna fail, you're gonna suck at it, and them laughing basically. So I remember that very clearly. And but during the planning stages of the restaurant, even before I put any money into it, I got a small notebook, and that I kept in my pocket. While I was still trying to proceed with this crazy restaurant idea, I wrote down my ideas, my thoughts, and I wrote down, why do I want to start this and open this restaurant? So I wrote down the usual. I want to have a successful business, to be my own boss, to provide for my family, for financial freedom. But I also wrote down, you will have challenges, but you will overcome those challenges. You will learn from your mistakes and never make them again. You will take that knowledge to make your restaurant better and to be the best. And, I won't say a name, but person laughing in my mind, I wrote that too, that I was going to prove this person wrong. So after reminding myself, looked at my notebook, I got up off the floor, I stood up, went back into the restaurant, into the trenches. And the blood, sweat, and tears quote was literal for me that day. I cut myself while trying to reposition the fryer to get to the exhaust. I was sweating profusely due to everything going on. And, was I crying? I blamed it on the onions, So, decided to close the restaurant, to regroup, schedule for the repairs the next day, the POS, the grease trap, and the exhaust. And, instead of sending my staff home, I asked them to help me reorganize the restaurant, cleaning. And before they went home, we spent an hour at a round table. I wanted to see what was working well with them for the restaurant and what wasn't. So, we made some process improvements that day and worked out some personnel issues because, when you own a business and you have employees, you're going to have some personnel issues, either issues, them having issues with you or employees having issues with each other. So we worked out those issues that day as well. So, I used that bad day. It was a horrific day to make it a good day, to to work on other aspects of my business. And, the last thing I had to do, which I wasn't looking forward to, was to call the 5 customers regarding their catering order. And I had to inform them of the situation and that I was not able to fulfill their catering orders. Luckily, 3 of the customers I've known since we opened, and they're very understanding. Rookie mistake. This guy's new. The other 2 customers, however, were not happy at all, which was totally understandable. And I thought, those customers would never order from me again. And then they both worked at fairly large companies in the area, and we were catering a business lunch event. But in a few months, they came back and ordered from us because they saw how we improved, and we were getting busier and busier. And the one thing I learned from all of that is to be honest with your customers. A lot of them will understand, some will not, and that's just how it goes. But a lot of them will come back. So if you find yourself in a similar situation, or even a more difficult situation, right now, don't give up. As entrepreneurs, business owners, we are problem solvers. That's what we do. We solve problems every day of our business. So keep pushing and keep going. And I know very well, and as all of you probably know, it gets lonely being a restaurant owner. The stress, the emotional toll that it takes on you, physically, and also sometimes it affects your relationships. But when we own the restaurant, we always come back because we love the industry for some odd reason. And what made it worthwhile for me was when a customer, before they leave, they would come up to me and say, hey, the food was great, compliments to the cook, and we'll definitely come back, we'll definitely be back. And I can tell you, there's no monetary value you can place on that feeling that you get knowing that you made your customer happy. And I believe that's one of the main reasons why we keep coming back to our restaurant, our business. I just want to, thank you for joining me today. And I hope to catch you on the next one. Please bear with me as I figure out the upload schedule for this podcast. And just a reminder, I'm here to inspire, motivate, and help you execute your business plans. May God bless you, your family, and your business. Take care, everyone. Until the next one.